traffic order going in place for the High Street in Nairn and the areas around the town. That was a considered scheme. It showed a generated income, right, over that period, yet nobody's enforced or overseen that that's actually been priced, right? Actually, the lost income from that over the last 2 years could have far outweighed what you would have got as income from the car park. And certainly going forward, it would maybe be a better alternative than charging for the toilets.
Not only are we against certain charges, we've got great ideas about how we can get some income for Highland Council as well, so some great stuff, thank you.
Well, I'd like to mention I'm a little bit concerned about, will the council be employing their own employees, or will they be hiring a private firm to collect the monies on the parking meters? Can anybody else have some suggestion? Will be a private firm collecting the money?
We don't want them money, but we don't want them. I think you'll find, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm assuming it's lots of like Group 4 go around and empty the meters.
It's not council employees.
It's not council employees, no, it's not.
It's not either.
And that again, that costs part of the collection charges, it costs money.
So we're going to start moving towards the end now.
Thanks, Michael. I'll really try not to make another bit of the microphone. I mean, Michael made a point just in reaction to the comments or the commercial by Sheena for caravan and facilities, camper van facilities. I think there is an important point here, that there are creative ways in which this town could function better. That's largely the raison d'etre for setting up a bid. The purpose is, among others, of a bid, and I have no particular axe to grind on the bid, I'm not directly connected with it. But the point is that we do want to channel imaginative, constructive, creative ways of making this town function better, provide better services, and in the process, one hopes, cover its costs and make a bit of revenue to reinvest in the town. These are all good things, and these are all things that we want to do. Let me just repeat that. These are all things we might want to do. And we have the opportunity to do it through things like the bid, through things like the community participation proposals, which are now part of the law. But that's really not the immediate first priority. Because if we get parking charges imposed on us, we're stuffed and we're shafted. And the revenue from that won't come to the town. So we're sort of going at this back to front. The first and absolute priority has to be to make sure that we don't bugger Nairn up by acquiescing in any kind of parking charges which will do the kind of damage we've discussed. That's the absolute and overriding priority. Once that's out of the way, and hopefully in the new era that we will have, we ourselves locally, through the bid, through the community councils, through our own councillors, can work together to come up with imaginative, sensible ideas for making the town better. But that's not why this proposal's on the table. This proposal is not on the table because parking charges are going to make Nairn better, richer, more economically successful, or easier to come and go through. It's going to damage all of that. So, I mean, I'm banging on about this because we've got to make sure we've got our priorities clear here. There are a lot of other good things that we could be doing, and a lot of other things that need to be done to help particular groups in there. Yeah, let's talk about that. But let's get this monkey off our backs. We do have to get this parking charges thing killed off in order to clear the way for more imaginative and constructive possibilities. So I think, can we just make sure we've got our priorities right? Thank you.
Thank you. Really valid point. consultation afterwards, I mean, what is the point? I just don't understand that. In over 20 years in a customer-facing environment, the best ideas come from the people you serve, and that's exactly where it should be coming from. So, thank you. Want to start rounding up? I don't want to keep you too long tonight, so I'll take anybody last point, or are we okay? One last one.
If you look at the document on redesign, that shows that it was looking at the charges for car parks. You still have this charge for car parking of 13,800 in there, right? And that, I presume, is for the library car park because that's rented from a private individual. And that's what I'm totally against all this, but unless you deal with that issue, it's always going to be open because the redesign document was based on the charges of the car parks, not about filling black holes, but the charge. So unless you deal with the issue of how you get around that 13,000, does it come back to the community and the community raise it, and therefore that isn't a burden on the council? That's an alternative. I do think we're all waiting for these schemes. We've had NICE, we've got bid and stuff, but there should be a public talk about what the best way forward is to manage it. And ultimately, if you're charging 50 pence per toilet, would it actually be any worse than charging 20 pence for a car park at the links or the maggot to cover that cost instead? It's one way around it because the people parking there are going to be using the toilets anyway. So there needs to be a sort of discussion about the best way forward to remove that 13,800 so it can't come back on the agenda in the future, because that's the expenditure that they're trying to overcome.
I think the greater point there is that there's a bit of expenditure that we could probably live without. So, okay. I'm going to give our council just a couple of minutes, or just to, if there's anything they want to voice or start with.
I'll come back to you, Stuart. We've looked at this issue before, this car park. It started about 10 years ago when the owner discovered that we were using the car park and he split it. The reality is we've been trying to get a new library site in there for 10, 15 years. I've been around one or two officials trying to get a site and we just can't seem to get one nailed down. The cost, it's always the capital cost that comes back, and that's why we're stuck with that. Otherwise we'd be out of there, we'd have been out there years ago if we could have got out of that place. That's the problem with that one.
Let's just pass it along and
I think
just a final word.
everyone's stirred up in Nairn, and rightly so, about this car parking charges coming forward. But I'm just concerned that everyone gets onto one issue and then so much other stuff just slips under the wire that next year we'll be saying, well, how did we agree to that, because it was just slipped under the wire because everyone was so focused on looking at this. So there's lots of dreadful cuts coming in this budget, and they're going to have massive implications for Nairn. And it's more important now than ever that the community does draw together and work together to do the best we can for our community, because more and more is falling on the community to deliver things the council used to do.
I think really good point, Liz. I'm a big advocate of the community coming together, and those that are involved will know that I'm a big advocate of that. I think the one thing I would say, and I know this isn't down to you, but in this sense, is for a community to have the ability to voice their concern, they need the time to understand the proposals, and we haven't had that. We hastily arranged this tonight because the feeling is so strong. I was, as chair of the AMB and Nairn Connects steering group, had a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls to say, we can't do this, we can't have this, it would be a disaster, and a few other words in amongst all that. And I think your point is 100% valid. I absolutely agree. From a business point of view, we want to be consulted. I think from the Community Council's point of view, in terms of what they've put out and shown us today, they want to be consulted. I think if there's another point to take back to particularly for Laurie and Tom, to the leading group within Highland Council, is that actually, we need to get these things in a more timely manner. We need to have some public consultation. And we, you know, as our elected officials, we want the opportunity to voice our opinion to you and to allow you to go and vote in the manner that is driven by the voters.
Yeah, but I'd just like to thank you, Michael, for arranging the meeting tonight, because it's really good that so many people have turned up, and it'll mean we can go back to our groups and say the strength of feeling that was shown in there, and there was a hall full of folk that was all jumping up and down about the car parking charges, so it'll help make our case to our group. And you're right about people wanting to consult. There was the issue of the delay and further delay to the capital programme just at Codder Community Council last night. They're concerned about the White Bridge, and that was supposed to be decided in December, and now it's been put back to March, so it's not been working very well.
Yeah, and not just like Codder White Bridge affects Nairn and traffic as well. So, Peter.
Just a quick one for Stuart. I checked with our ward manager, and the rent paid for the library car park is currently £6,000 a year.
Listed on the redesign document, the expenses is listed as 13,800.
It may well be.
Yeah.
It may well be, but the current rent is £6,000.
So they're obviously, you know, the councillors through the redesign have identified some other charges that have been applied then.
And,
Anything in summary, Peter?
yes, yeah. One thing that is a positive note is the enthusiasm for the members here tonight, not us, but the members of the audience here tonight, for a concerted plan to work together for the greater good. My colleagues up here will tire of me saying that with the council funding going the way it is, local communities are going to have to rely more and more on their own resources and enthusiasm to do things which the council has done previously, and it's very pleasing to see that there is a willingness to take that on board here and work for the benefit of the community.
Just a couple of things. Consultation, I think it was Brian earlier on said, consultation is one thing. What we also need is to list the outcomes that we desire. What's the priority of an outcome? When I was in a previous existence minister down at the Congregational Church, I was actually employed to close it. It's not closed, as you may have noticed. But when people came together to say they wanted to develop something, they had a wish list of about 80 things. But we had to refine that and say what is the priority, what is the first outcome, what is the first target. In the long number of years I've been around there, and I've sat and listened to charrettes and various things where there's all kinds of plans and fancy documents and money spent on consultation. And I think the point being made, and I think that's something that somehow, somewhere we have to draw together this year and say what, beyond reacting to certain things, and I agree that it's negative that we have to react to something, what is an overriding priority that we have as an outcome that we can get behind and make a difference here. Sheena was making a point about the mobile homes and so on. There's a little community up in the northwest, and they had a community group that got together and made some of these stands and provided for, and they just put a box out and said voluntary contributions, and I think they mentioned £10 would be suitable or something like that. And they found that folk were coming down from Tongue down to this, I think it was Scourie, but I wouldn't necessarily maybe quoted on that one. And folk were travelling a distance because they wanted to behave responsibly and appropriately. So again, that's another area that should be explored positively. But I would be keen to find an overriding outcome, and let's go and achieve something there.
Thank you. So just to finalise, I guess what would be good is a show of hands. For those who are absolutely against parking charges for in there. 2 hands. Thank you. I think I think the feeling in the room and throughout Nairn has been very obvious. I think our councillors are on board, which is great. I think speaking on behalf of the A&B and Nairn Connect Smith, our expectation would absolutely be that if this isn't taken off the budget, that you vote against it. And you know, I'm being absolutely plainly obvious with you on that. We understand the need to balance the budget. Who in business doesn't understand the need to balance the budget? However, you know that this is not the way to do it. I think that's absolutely vital. Like, if you could put your hands together for our councillors. Not very often we get you all in a room like this, so we're delighted to have you. Is this the first time that we'll be in a room in front of a public audience like this? Yeah. So thank you very much, and thank you to all for coming, and safe journey home. Thank you to all you for participating. Much appreciated.
Could somebody take it off?